longest war this century ended just a few months ago. And since then, there's been almost a silence about Vietnam in the American press and on television. After defeat and humiliation, people just want to forget. But the people who live here in the town of Fort Smith, Arkansas, aren't being allowed to forget, which is both ironic and sad, because towns like Fort Smith, in America's heartland, spilt most of America's blood in Vietnam. Poor white Southern boys didn't burn their draft cards. They gladly went to die for God and country, or whatever it was that they went to die for. But now, in the first summer of peace, the war has come home to Fort Smith yet again. It's like a dream, because every few days out of the sky come hundreds of Vietnamese, soldiers, sailors, pilots, politicians, priests, crooks, bar girls, and just ordinary frightened people, touched and convinced by the American cause, whatever that was. There's 24,000 of them on the edge of town, just waiting for the good folks here to come and sponsor them. The problem is that every one of them is a living reminder that the boys buried in this graveyard died for nothing. But now the boys, the ones who survived, are together again with the Vietnamese, each eager to please the other, almost as if 2 decades of mistrust and killing and lost opportunities had never happened.
I didn't think I'd ever see any Vietnamese people again. I left in 1968.
More than 120,000 Vietnamese fled to America, and only a third have been settled in the community. The rest still languish in old army camps, and those who can't find a sponsor to take them will eventually end up here in Arkansas, which is about as far away from Vietnam as the other side of the moon. God only knows what the future holds for this confused and frightened old man. He and people like him are all that's left of an American investment of 20 years and 56,000 lives and $140 billion.
Right. Okay, kids, let's go. Follow me. Come on. Let's go. All right, come on.
Big jolly GI, cute crying Vietnamese kids, together again, one having lost a war, the others their country, and perhaps at long last, needing each other. This is the United States. Welcome you, Vietnamese. All those years the Americans told you to fear the communists. Then at the end they told you not to panic, but you did. And so here you are in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. Sorry about that. Welcome to Fort Chaffee, built in World War II, closed down in the 50s. A temporary